80s Rewind Show podcast.
It's time to bring you yet another amazing episode. And now, welcome your host,
Rob, the face for Radio Burgess.
Enjoy the show.
Hello, it's the 80s Rewind Show with me, Rob, the face for Radio Burgess. How are you and how you doing? I hope you're well. I hope you're really, really well. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. Talking of that, I just want to say a massive thank you to Paula, who wrote in and said she really enjoyed the interview with Dennis Seaton from Musical Youth. She wrote in and said, I really, really enjoyed it. Now, don't forget, if you want to email in, you can email me at
The 80s Rewind Show at gmail.com.
Now, I'm going to do that one more time, so get yourself a pen, get ready.
The 80s Rewind Show at gmail.com.
So Paula wrote in and said, thank you very much. I really enjoyed the episode. Thank you, Paula, for that. And like Paula, if you want to say you enjoyed the show, or if you think maybe you should talk to this guest, email me and let me know. Or if you just want to talk some 80s, same place. So before we start the show, I've got to say a massive hello to my new friends in Germany, China, and New Zealand, of all places. There's people tuning in all over the world. So all is welcome. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. Today's show, I've got a great guest for you. Oh, before I forget, if you go to the website, which is, I'm going to press a button again.
www.the80spod.com.
Grab your pen again.
www.the80spod.com.
On there, I've got a little link that says exclusive to site. And on there, the guests I've been interviewing have sent me some limited edition stuff that you can't get anywhere else. And that's the same as today's guest. So what you do is you go on there, pop onto the exclusive to site page, and you'll find some tracks that you can't get anywhere else. And today's guest sent us one. We've got the wonderful Peter Coyle from the Lotus Eaters. Me and Peter had a wonderful chat, and he's a lovely, lovely guy. I can hear my friend Jane telling me off now for saying, stop saying everybody's lovely. But it's true. Everybody's lovely in the 80s land. We had a chat about his early bands, where he used to wear a lampshade on his head. He'll explain that one to you. When he joined the Lotus Eaters, and when he was doing some dance music for a while, and what he's up to nowadays. I had a great time chatting with Peter. We had such a laugh. What a lovely fella. It's just, what can I say? Just check it out. It's great. Anyway, let's get to it. When you were growing up in the house, what sort of music was around? What was your parents listening to? What was you influenced by when you were?
Oh, well, that's actually a really revealing question, because that is the heart of all artists. Well, in my opinion. And so my dad, who wanted to be an artist, but came from a space where you are messing. And so became a tiler. He also wanted to be a goalie, and he was a good goalie when he was in the army. But again, that was just like, that's not for you, because you come from a working class background and you are not allowed dreams. Anyway, so every Sunday, he would religiously put on his country and western tunes. You know what I mean? His Johnny Cash, A Boy Named Sue, which used to just, fascinate me, and Ring of Fire, and basically all of the greats, and Elvis, and and he just Sunday morning was country and western time. And then in the week, when they'd all pile in from the pub, it'd just be parties, and then it'd still be fucking country and western. It'd be like Stand By Your Man, and oh God, it's just like relentless. Blankets on the Ground.
I bet you know the words to all of those songs, though, don't you? Phonetically.
Oh yeah, King of the Road. It shapes you. Actually, you don't realize, but that kind of sincerity and the kind of like real life story goes into your being. Because I'm listening to it and thinking, what's happening here? It's like, hey, did you happen to see the most beautiful girl in the world? And I'm like, whoa, so it's not really my vibe, but I'm seeing it's my dad's vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm just like going, right, okay, well, something's going on here, but, it is very, very, very interesting. And then as I grew up and became an adolescent, I'd be like, it'd all be like, Sparks. Zoo time is you and me time.
Awesome.
What a tune. And when I met Muff Winwood, that was one of the highlights of actually going to what they called A&R meetings. I used to hate A&R meetings.
Right.
They'd always send me to shrinks afterwards. But when I met Muff Winwood, I'm like, Muff, who gives a fuck about my career? Let's talk about yours. Because, like, Muff, well, you produce Sparks and your brother is the man. Really? And I'm like, and I desperately wanted to sign to CBS, not for any business reasons, but because it was Muff. and Muff, bless him, he said to me, and I really did like him a lot. And he said to me, what did he say? He said, my God, I love these songs that you've written. It must have been for No Sense of Sin. I love these songs that you've written at the age of 20, 21. But my God, what are your songs going to be like when you're 40, 50? Yeah. And I thought, it's lovely of you to say, because I'm thinking I'll probably be dead by then. But thanks so much for saying that. But unfortunately, I'm not really good at asserting myself. And Jerry wanted to sign to Arista.
Right.
Me and the manager, Pete, we wanted to sign to CBS. Jerry he wanted to sign to Arista, so we did. Stupidly. Anyway, whatever, who cares? I'm just glad I got to meet the producer of Sparks.
That's amazing. So it was country that was mainly in your house. Funny if my dad played in a country and western band all of his entire life. So I those songs that you were talking about, I know exactly. Every weekend, I used to go on with him in the van, and he'd sit up and play for 2 or 3 hours. I know all those songs phonetically. And now I'm older, I really appreciate them. Like, I don't know about yourself, I really appreciate the songwriting ability and the
genius. It's genius, and you're dead right, because melody and the way, it's the simplicity, the melody, and the lyrical sort of content is like, so deep. It's lovely. It's obviously, it's very much in a genre.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing, wonderful. Ring of Fire, my God. I mean, and also the tone.
Yeah.
The tone of these things. And the sheer heartfelt sort of intensity, which you don't really get in an awful lot of records.
That's true.
You do them.
Yeah, and then you'll get a guitar solo that'll just tear your face off, because the players were just the Nashville boys, unbelievable players, aren't they?
Totally.
And yet again, when you're a kid listening to that, you think, that's just noise.
Yeah.
You don't realise how brilliant that guitar playing is, the banjo, the fiddle playing is, and and then you fast forward 40 years, you've got the C2C festival in Wembley and stuff like that at the O2, and it's crazy.
Yeah. So they're the real deal. They're the real deal.
They are, and you can set them up in a pub or in a bus stop, and it will still be the best gig you'll see in a million years. Amazing. I mean, slowly as I'm getting older, I'm getting into that sort of stuff. I'm really getting into it heavily. And I can't pick a favourite, though. I don't think I've got one. I think I'm like yourself. I like a bit of everything. And
I mean, it's just so hard. Basically, it's just when it works beautifully.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So when you started sort of singing to stuff, was the country stuff the stuff you started to sing to find your voice when you originally started to sing?
No.
Or was it the Sparksy stuff that came along?
No, not at all. Not even that. We were in a gang in Walton and Liverpool, and not the jail. And so, for example, for the weekend, we listen to Bad Company, only the Bad Company records all weekend.
Wow.
We get blitzed. And then next weekend, we'd listen to all the Yes records. And then weekend after, Zeppelin, Yes, Genesis, King Crimson. So we'd have we'd have hardcore weekends where it's just, we only listen to the albums which was just mega. And so when it wasn't the weekend, in the week, in the night, we'd go around to each other's houses, and my two mates, they kind of had acoustic guitars, and one was left-handed, so he'd play the bass, but he'd play it wrong, obviously. And the other lad was so it was Gary on one acoustic guitar that was playing it left-handed, and Steve on the other acoustic guitar, nylon, was playing it like a proper guitarist, but he was only beginning, so he was just beginning. And I couldn't do it. I didn't have a guitar. I couldn't do anything. So I just stuck a lampshade on my head in the corner and started singing and jamming with them, you see. And not because I was a singer, but just because, the lampshade really suited me.
It's like an early version of Prince.
Yeah, it was just to hide. It was I needed the mask.
Yeah,
I was a very shy boy. If I didn't have the mask, or the lampshade rather, then I was going nowhere. But after months of I kind of developed a deep fetish for the lampshade, and it was good. It was good news. Happy days.
So that was your first sort of band, was it? You guys were just messing around, or did you ever perform publicly?
With that band,
yeah,
no. But my first tune, our first tune was called "Lamb of God." Catholic boy, you see. And also The Family, which was like the because Gary was a big. He got me into poetry. Actually, it was not at all kind of pop based. It was absolutely psychiatric based, and it was mega. We loved it. We were happy. It was just the three of us. And then the first band was called Tin Ethics, which was a school band.
Wow.
And Steve was in that. Me mate Steve was in Tin Ethics.
Wow. When did you meet Jeremy Kelly? Was that around the same time, or was it?
No, God, no, that was much, much, much later. So basically my first band after school was called the Jazz Babies.
Wow. What sort of band were they?
Mad. Absolutely wild and mad. I'd basically be singing upside down, hanging upside down from the ceiling. It was very kind of, we had a John Peel session, and it was very sort of really kind of what's it called, killing joke.
Yeah,
kind of killing joke, birthday party, Peter Hamill.
Right.
Sort of in that sort of, I just sung, and it was all like, just off my head. But the band were great. Yeah, the band were great.
So did you join that band, or did you form the band around your mates?
Sorry. So with the Jazz Babies, what it was Tin Ethics did a gig at Eric's.
Oh, wow.
He did a gig at Eric's. And
Eric's, by the way, is in Matthew Street, for people that don't know.
Yeah.
Was it above a place? It was, wasn't it? Is it above, or was it? Do you go upstairs to Eric's, or was it on the?
No, you go downstairs.
You go downstairs, so you go the opposite way.
Yeah, you go downstairs.
So was it another basement? Because opposite, for people that don't know, was the Beatles, where the Beatles cavern used to be. But if you go there now, it's 12 feet in the wrong direction, by the way. But
yeah, the cavern's the opposite side.
Yeah.
But Eric's was the original kind of like where I first saw Ultravox. Wow. Anyway, but I could only go to, what are they called? Matinees.
Right.
That's it. I used to go to the matinees at Eric's. So anyway, Tin Ethics, we did our first gig. Again, keeping the Catholic theme. One of the songs was called Good Friday. I think the first line of that was, Buddha's in the asylum. Very apt for today, actually.
It's very deep for a young lad as well, though. It's a deep lyric for a young guy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. They always said I was deep. So we were called Tin Ethics. And that was, but the band, we all agreed after our A-levels, we'd all carry on the band, but they all went to Oh, another classic song, "Desolation in Oxford Circus." Another classic. But they all said we'd go to we'd all not go to uni because we all had places in uni. Right. I was going to do philosophy and theology in London, but I was the only one who didn't go to uni. They all went. They were all rather clever and intelligent and went to uni. So I didn't. I stayed on in the music, and Jazz Babies. Well, we weren't called anything, but they came to me and said, "Would you sing with us?" And I said, "Yeah," because they were proper. They were great. Well, so were Tenetics actually.
Yeah.
I loved them. We were very much in the U2 modes, actually, very much in the U2 mode. But Jazz Babies was. Cool.
And were you a confident singer at this time and a confident writer? Did it come along from the lampshade, or was it? Were you still no? No.
I mean, writing was I enjoyed and I was comfortable. Didn't know what I was doing. Still don't, to be honest. But these things happen. In terms of before every gig, 3 days not being able to eat.
Wow.
Doing a bit of a Barry Gibb, vomiting. It's just I was wired. It's a difficult skill to learn if it's not in your DNA. Even now, I still, because when I do a gig, like I've just done some prog rock gigs in UK, which were great. But people are thinking like, what is he smoking?
I love it. So there was you and Jeremy at the time. Did you start writing together straight away? Was it a little while or?
Oh no. So basically, the Jazz Babies split up, and I asked Jem to join the Jazz Babies, and everyone hated one another, so that was awful. But we needed to move on, so me and Jem got together, started off as our own thing, and I went round to his house, and he had 4 tracks on Porch Studio instrumentals. I think it was a Sunday. Him and Jed were there, and so they said, so in his bedroom, he showed me the Porch Studio, gave me the microphone, said, "We're just going to the pub. Here's 4 tunes, just like have a little sing on them. Let's see if you can do anything." And those 4 tunes were First Picture View, When You Look at Boys, think Start of the Search, and one other one I can't remember. And they were more or less done and dusted there.
Right.
And when they came back, because they were cool dudes, they were like, fucking hell, what the fuck is this? And they were really shocked. Really shocked. But they didn't say it.
Right.
They didn't say it. They didn't, like, oh, pretty good there. There was none of that. It was just like, because, but it didn't really matter anyway, because they could read them like a fucking book anyway. It didn't really matter. And that was that really. They knew I was useful. And so happy days, it went ahead.
So did the it sounds like before you were saying you was a sort of Killing Joke type band, which was quite aggressive, and that was it different to do to write for a band that's more chilled out and melodic? Was it an easy jump to make?
Oh, it was a jump I was determined to make.
It was it?
See, because I wanted to how can I put it? Here we go. This is where, if you had any listeners, you're going to lose them all right now, because this is where I wanted to explore the feminine aspect and the more subtle sort of introvert aspects, without the anger and without the torture and without the dark. Well, no, you can't take the darkness out, but without basically, I wanted all the intensity and passion, but instead of hanging upside down and screaming at the top of my voice, I wanted to do it in a new way.
Yeah.
For me, it was the most revolutionary, because before I was just basically copying. Well, I wasn't copying, but I was coming from Gabriel, Peter Hamill, David Bowie, Ian Curtis. I was coming from all the beautiful people I loved and admired.
Yeah.
And I wanted the most revolutionary thing I could do was switch it.
Yeah.
And so it was me who wanted to go that way. Right. And that's what I did. I was going out with Stephanie, oh bless her, who's no longer here, sadly.
Oh man.
But you know, and she showed me people like Louise Brooks and Anais Nin, and you know, she opened up a whole new world, and she was like feminist central. Right. So I was reading a Spare Rib every week, thinking, oh my God, I'm horrible. My God, what am I doing with this chromosome? My God, I've got to get rid of this chromosome sharpish. No, but then I'd put it down and think, oh, but no, it was, and also she introduced me to Marvin Gaye.
Wow, yeah.
Al Green and all that side of things. So, you know, because Marvin Gaye was a game changer for me.
Oh, really?
A classic introvert, really. But suffering, all that, how can I put it? He had this way of channeling it and putting it into a really gentle soul.
Yeah.
It was a pure genius, and Al Green the same. They come from a difficult space, and they somehow manage to make it beautiful. And that was my brief, if you like.
Right, I see.
Lotus Eaters. You know, that's what I wanted to do, you know, and I saw the acoustic guitar as a revolutionary thing.
Yeah.
And then that's when people started saying, oh, you sound like Neil Young, and what's the band from with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? But before that, before Crosby, there was another band
the
with
Birds,
all of them.
or...
The Birds, but all of them, all of those people were in the band, and they said I sound like him, and also the lad from I love his voice on the Pink Floyd album. He was their mate,
Roy Harper.
That's it, Roy Harper. Yeah, Roy Harper. Yeah.
So it's amazing. It sounds like you would. Yeah, I mean, the brief sounds really, really good. It's kind of like Kate Bush, where you do these sort of beautiful songs with like a dark undertone. So, yeah. I mean, it sounds like that lady really influenced the band and the songwriting. That's amazing.
Well, she influenced me, Stephanie, and massively. You know, she was a big deal in my role. You know, we lived together, and it was, you know, I was 18 at the time,
right?
Clueless. You know, I'd read a few books, but not many, and still not many. But you know, but she, you know, with she was a clever cookie, and you know, and also with a very clear outlook on things.
Right.
You know, she introduced me to Robert Palmer as well, and she was great. And sadly, Stephanie passed away this year. But
that sucks.
Yeah, but you know, with this podcast, we'll celebrate. You know, a big hats off to Stephanie.
Yeah, nice. It's amazing when you meet someone like that just plugs you into new music and new things, isn't it? It's you know, can't get it.
Well, to be honest, that is actually one of the key things about, you know, when people always look at artists and they never see the invisible people behind.
Yeah.
Never see, actually, if it wasn't for these key players in the picture going, you know, because we're all products of our environment, especially artists.
Yeah.
We're all products. If it wasn't for our mums, if it wasn't for our dads, if it wasn't for our brothers and sisters, if it wasn't for these experiences and this, none of it would be.
Yeah.
We're very lucky, and it's all part of who we are, really.
It's true. I always say to my missus, the world's been around for 7 billion years, but I managed to be alive at the same time as David Bowie and John Lennon.
Yeah, exactly.
So know what happened? Exactly. I got the greats.
I know.
So talking of influences, you did a John Peel session. Did you do one with Jazz Babies as well as the Lotus as well?
Yeah, so first one was Jazz Babies, second one was Lotus Eaters, and the Jazz Babies was the first time I'd ever been in the studio.
Wow. And did you, how was it for you? Was you terrified? Was you fine with it? Was you, wasn't bothered by it? I mean, I know John Peel was a bit legendary figure, but was you terrified still, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, my God, what a performance.
Yeah.
My God, you can tell, I mean, it's parable. And what else? Let me soak it up someone, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's so charged.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. And I'd like a big shout out for David. David was the bass player. Rob was the guitarist for the Jazz Babies. David was the bass player, and Steve was the drummer. And they were all mega. I was sitting on their shoulders, really. They were older than me and just mega. Yeah, that, Parable it's such a beautiful moment, and the lad from Mott the Hoople was the producer, and they were like, oh my God, what is going on? Let's. But it was a really beautiful experience, and so look. But I'd like to, a nice shout out to David Whittaker, because he's been a bit poorly lately, but big shout out to David.
Fantastic. And how did get well, Dave? And how did this session come around? How did you get onto the John Peel show? Did you just send a record in, or a tape, or an EP, or did he see you live, or?
Oh no, I'd send him postcards, just basically begging. I'd send him like arty postcards, with strange words on it, I don't know. I'd send him a postcard, and it just had the word surreal on it. And and then the next day I'd send him a postcard, and it'd just have melon.
Wow. If you got that now, you'd think you're mad, wouldn't you?
Well, I know, to be honest, I wish I'd have photographed the postcards to John Peel. Yeah. So as I could see what, because I'd be on a plane. Yeah. And I'd send him a postcard saying, sand.
I kind of get it. It's a one statement of what you're doing, like holiday, sand. I kind of get it now. Melon, I don't know, shopping. I don't know what melon would be. I kind of like it. It's kind of, especially in today's world where everything has to be shorter. Just one word postcard is there might be an internet site you should invent for that.
I mean, because everything now is, we're all we're all corporate entities, aren't we? Yeah. We all have mission statements, and manifestos. It's all we're all like Mr. and Mrs. Coca-Cola, and really, is that where it's at? I just want to make tea for Joni Mitchell. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I just want to hang out, and just say, Joni, could I just mix you a little bit of red ochre here, please?
I love it.
But we live in a different world to the
better days, as it were. So, did you do? Did you do two sessions for John in the end? Was there one with Jazz Babies and one with Lotus Eaters, or was it just one session?
Yeah. So there's one with the Lotus, and with the Lotus Eaters, it was First Picture View, which was a great version. The first time it was recorded properly. Yeah. And When You Look at Boys, which was the version we used on the record. Stranger So Far, which is a gorge. Again, we used that on the record, and that's interesting because Jerry, he'd speed up because he'd get excited, which is rather quite endearing of him, actually. And and it works because there were no drums. It was and his fantastic guitar.
Yeah,
he's a brilliant guitarist. And what was the fourth? No idea. I always struggle on the fourth. That must be with short-term memory. For short-term memory, you should be able to remember 5 things, but obviously mine's so wrecked. I've gone to 3.
Well, you're doing your one-word thing again. That's all. You're just you're kind of down to 3 memories. So was the band signed at this point, or was you?
No. That was, but like the next day, it was just like what everyone wanted to know us.
Right.
It was weird.
So the session broke the band. Sort of.
Oh yeah, totally. Wow. John Peel loved it. He was like, he didn't expect it.
Yeah.
He was like, what? Where's this coming from? And he didn't expect it, and it was it took off from there. That one Peel session, whatever, because it was it was good.
And is it right? I mean, were you gigging at the time? Is it right you recorded First Picture without even playing it live? Is that right? Is that true?
Oh yeah. We our first gig was after our record because we didn't have a chance. It was also, and so that's what made it weird. So our first gig, I think, was in Liverpool. It was in a great venue,
right?
And so we went on stage, and all the screaming started, and I turned round to see what they were screaming at. Because I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? What's the screaming for? Where's the fire extinguisher? Can you not all get to Specsavers pronto?
I mean, come on, you were a bit of a pin-up back then, weren't you? You had the looks, you had the hair.
No. But you see, it's so interesting. I had hair.
Mm.
That's the one thing I did have hair at the time. But having said that, how can I put it? Well, I suppose I was trying to bring out the feminine aspect.
Right, okay.
And Stephanie obviously liked pretty boys. So she kind of basically dressed me.
Right.
So. And I'd wear some of her clothes, to be honest. I'd be like, I suppose, I'd go on in like I remember there's a fanzine, and there's a picture of me wearing a coat.
Right.
And I'd have like, she'd put Coyle on me, and is it Coyle? Is it what you put on your eyes and stuff?
Oh, I don't mean, yeah.
Whatever, but basically, she'd explore things, and I was quite happy doing that. And girls started to phone me up saying, "What's your hair like?" And I'm like, "I don't even know. I'm not even interested."
I mean, it's interesting that you're a Bowie fan, and Stephanie was your Angie in a way, because you wore her clothes like Bowie did, and she put the makeup on you like Angie did for Bowie. It's amazing that you had the same parallel.
Yeah, she shaped me in so many ways. Yes, she was. And although, fucking Angie had a much more talented subject.
That's not true. Come on.
Stephanie was limited with me. But yes, Stephanie kind of like, she's sort of, she led the way. And it was mega for me because it gave me like we go to supermarket, like, which was just great, and we'd have our what are those umbrellas called? Those Chinese umbrellas.
What, the tiny ones?
The kind of colourful ones, but like, so basically we're in downtown urban Liverpool.
Yeah.
Stephanie's looking at $1 million in a bob. She's just looks pure Louise Brooks, pure like $1 million. and I'm like a sort of double, and we're going, we're going to Quick Save, and or we'll go into Marks and Spencers, and then Pete Burns will come in with Linda.
Wow.
And the four of us are there, like at either end of the aisle, going, "Fucking hell!" This is one fuck of an aisle. This is a pure art aisle. This is like, and so that was cool, because obviously Pete and Linda were just seriously out there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So ahead of the time, and so cool.
I mean, I grew up in a place called Tilbury, which is like the Liverpool of Essex. So you've got to have some stones to dress and be that way as well, to walk around the streets going, well, this is me and I wear this, and because you're going to get hassle all the time, and people just want to punch you for looking different. I mean, did that ever concern you when you were, wearing bits or did you not care? No.
Well, I'm how can I put it?
I mean, I suppose because you had Pete, that was worse. You could go.
Well,
yeah.
You did not mess with Pete.
Really? Was he a tough lad?
It would take 5 to take him down.
Wow. Bit like, I've heard Boy George is the same. I heard he's a tough old guy as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he's fucking massive.
He's a big lad.
Yeah, he's about 6. Yeah, he's a proper man's man.
Wow. But Pete was kind of skinny. I can't imagine. But I suppose he had that wiry strength, did he? That would.
No. Pete was built like a brick shithouse.
Wow.
Yeah, no. And with me, I was just how can I put it? I was just cleverer.
Right.
So I'd be playing footy, because I loved footy. So I'd be playing footy, still had makeup on me. And just hoping no one would notice, because that's the worst thing you could,
You could have took it off.
Well, yeah, you try, but do you know how hard it is to get makeup off? Fucking hell. These girls, they don't tell you that. I mean, girls are just another level of no, it's really hard to get it off. All a proper, you've got to,
eyeshadow and liner and yeah.
Yeah, all that nonsense. It's just nightmare. But also, hanging around. I was good at reading situations and being able to kind of
knowing when to leave.
yeah, and also male bullies are not the most intelligent of beings, so they're rather easy to kind of
hoodwink. Is that the word? Hoodwink.
Yeah, completely, because they're thick as pig shit. Sorry. Yeah. I might get cancelled, might I? Oh shit, never mind.
That's all right. No, don't be silly. So you got in the studio with Nigel Gray, and at the time he's done The Police and Susie and the Banshees and Godley and Cream. I mean, what was it like?
No, he hadn't done Susie yet.
Oh, he hadn't done Susie at the point. Okay, yeah. So what was it like just recording with Nigel? Was he a good producer? Was he hands on? Was he?
Oh yeah, he was mega. He was brilliant. I wanted to do the album with him, but again, Jerry, Nigel was brilliant, but Nigel wanted to kind of rockify the bass and drums. He wanted to pin it down to basically a rock sort of. And we were, to be fair to Jen, we were trying to move away from that.
Right.
But having said that, I think it was a mistake not to do the album with Nigel. I would have been happy with it. But, I mean, what a character. So interesting. Yeah. So wild. Beyond what you would not believe. Awesome. I mean, sadly, he's not here, but yeah, he had a lovely smile and he was so cute. And he, when he got the bass player from Avalon, because our bass player, we didn't have a bass player.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have a bass player. So we got a session muso in, and it was the lad who's not, again, he's not here either. Bloody hell, we're all dying, aren't we? He was the bass player off Avalon.
Wow.
Oh, and he was great because he was just a lovely man and he had his lovely beer belly and he was just like, and I'm just watching him play his bit and I'm just like, and I'm saying, can you just play the bass line to Avalon? But he was a really sweet man, you know what I mean? He could tell I was clueless, knew nothing, and he was just speak to me, and I'd ask him about Brian Ferry, and
he's just cueing him,
he'd just be like, it was just great. And Nigel Gray was just, you'd see the master tapes to like the Police,
wow,
and you're just there, and just like. And he'd put them on and, on the reel to reel and you'd hear it and you're just like, because let's face it, the Police, one of the best bands ever.
Amazing.
And also that tune that Nigel did was a Spellbound with Susie.
Right.
What a tune that is. Because Budgie, what a drummer he was.
Yeah.
He lives around here and Susie does. Susie lives near her. They split up now, I think. But the drum fill, the middle eight of Spellbound.
So you're in the studio. No, I love it. So you're in the studio making No Sense of Sin. Was it a quick album to make? Was it a slow album?
You know all the best. When are you moving into comedy, Rob? Fucking hell, mate. Was it a quick album to make? I want that on my gravestone. Was it a quick album to make? Fucking hell.
I have to ask.
I had about 3 fucking breakdowns during that album. Fucking hell. Was it a quick album to make? Sorry.
That's all right.
In short, no. It's so difficult because for someone like me, I'm like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm on the freak side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So if I'm starting something, I need to get the thing finished.
Right.
Because so when I do an album, it physically hurts me.
Right.
A, because of the emotional investment, and B, because of the time it takes to get it done.
Right.
So that's why singles are good for me. Because I'll do a tune, I'll start it, I work very fast. Again, I'm on the freak end of the spectrum. I switch on and I don't switch off until it's done.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I feel there's less pain that way. But with albums, there's more people involved. It's slower. It's just a slower pace. And what's worse with No Sense of Sin and Jerry, because he's a perfectionist. Don't ever hang out with perfectionists. Because they don't actually achieve what they're trying to. Anyway, well, that's neither. That's a mute point. Moot or mute point?
Moot, as I think it is.
Moot point, yeah. Although I do like the word mute point phrase. Mute point.
Yeah.
That might be, if John was around, I would send that lovely man a postcard and it would be mute point. Dear John, mute point. Love Peter and Robbie.
Yes.
Oh, bless him. He was a lovely man. Anyway, sorry, what were we talking about?
We're talking about the album being quick to make and perfectionists.
No, it was fucking laboriously long. Excuse the French. Because we had about 5 different producers.
Right.
I mean, bless him. Alan Tarney, fucking hell. We spent 4 days on a bass drum.
Wow. What, just tuning it or getting the right sound?
Just tuning the fucking... Stop swearing, Peter. Just tuning the ring out of a bass drum. Now, having said that, Alan, I do thank you because we recorded You Don't Need Someone New, which is a nice tune. It's a nice tune. It's a really nice... but more importantly, we recorded Two Virgins Tender, which is actually a really interesting B-side because of such a weird lyric. Very Stephanie, actually.
Right.
That lyric, very Stephanie. and also you don't. But anyway,
I mean, what I find interesting about the album, because I've been playing it, it's very contemporary for now. I think if you released it like now or like about 2015 when all the indie stuff was around again and really bouncing around when the Kooks are hot and all that sort of stuff, I think it would have, if you just released it and just said this isn't an album made in the 80s, no one would have known the difference. You know what I mean? It sounded really contemporary even now, so it's strange.
Well, not really. I mean, please forgive the abject narcissism, but it was ahead of its time.
I agree, yeah. So, yeah, I think it was.
It was ahead of its time. And the level and degree of songwriting was really high.
Yeah.
There were not many people. So, for example, you know, like, because basically the Smiths and the Lotus Eaters, the Smiths won hands down, because they're much easier to like, but and obviously really interesting as well.
Yeah,
really, you know, lyrically fabulous. But I'm pretty sure he wasn't reading Brecht,
yeah. Whereas
I was.
Yeah,
and so that was the difference between us. You know, I was far more. Well, I was far more subtle, and also he understood the media. He was a journalist,
right? Okay.
Beforehand, so he understood how things worked, the system.
Yeah.
But this charming man, what a beautiful lyric that is.
Yeah.
What a beautiful. I mean, lots of his lyrics are just sensational.
I am the sun, I am the air. Amazing.
That lovely.
I mean, double meanings. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, genius.
I can only write a shopping list.
Well, you never know. I'm sure you'll sort something. You know, it's coming.
So, did the making the album and taking a while? Did that cause tensions in the band that echoed later on, or was it one of those things where you sort of understood it was the situation that was causing you to go a bit crazy and stuff with each other?
I never really belonged. I was never really a mate.
Right.
So I would always be in the back of the van reading Albert Camus. Jerry was a big personality.
Yeah.
You know, and very entertaining, very funny, you know, would have you laughing left, right, you know. But I was never really his mate, I don't think, ever. And Jed and Jerry were mates.
Yeah.
You know, so they'd be playing having water pistol fights and all this type of thing in the studio, while I'd be like in the drum booth thinking, fucking hell.
Yeah.
When am I going to get this vocal done to set me apart? Yeah. And so, and to be fair to them, I was a different fish to them. I was different. They were far more outward, far more confident. And that kind of pattern remained to the very end, actually.
Right. Okay.
You know, so say, for example, with It Hurts, I think that's the last thing we did. I wanted to release the 12-inch as the 7-inch.
Right.
And but Jerry didn't. He wanted to release the 7-inch, and again, I think that was a mistake. Yeah,
it was just bits and bobs. I mean, interesting. Talking about, we're saying it being contemporary ahead of its time. When I was listening to Out on Your Own, which is a great song, by the way.
Yeah.
There's like a piano riff. I think it's a piano riff, but it sounds a bit like David Guetta would do. That kind of, because later on you moved into house music. Is that right? You were doing some bits and bobs of house music.
Oh yeah, I did Ace Orgasms and G Love, which was the biggest club in the country, and we had our own label and did loads of dance tunes. So did Sly One, and big tunes. Should have been hits. Yeah.
So where did the sort of house music started come in for it for you? Because you've gone from a band and then you've gone into house. Did you hear it from New York and stuff and go, oh, I really like that, and it kind of developed, or did you Was there a standard?
Well, no. Basically, basically, I did an album after Lotus split, which is called "Slap in the Face for Public Taste," which is really dark and down. Then to make, because I felt guilty because I am a Catholic boy, I went in and I'd Sacrifice 8 Orgasms with Shirley MacLaine almost straight away.
Yeah.
And that was a double album as well. And that I was trying to do a dance album. I wanted to do a Funkadelic Parliament album.
Right.
We did it while we were all wearing wigs. and it was just, it was a part. We had a laugh making it, but it didn't come out at all like a dance album. And so I then thought, oh shit, I've got to get me active. And then I was, because I was obviously career was wrecked. I got a job in a bar in I forget what the club was called. But anyway, so I started working behind a bar, and then I thought I'd like to run a club night. So I went to the boss and said, "Can I run a club night?" And he said, "What do you want to call it?" And I said, 8 Orgasms. And he said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to do a club night, one night a month. I'll put new bands on, dance bands, and I want to call it 8 Orgasms." And he said, "You are fucking mad." And I said, "For the first one, I want Tony Wilson to come down and from Manchester and do a speech on why Liverpool's so fucking far behind Manchester." Because I said to the boss of the club, I said, because what I want to do, mate, is I want to set up factory records.
Right.
I want to set up factory records in Liverpool.
Right.
And this is my first move. Will you give me one night a month? And he said, "You crazy, fucked up human being. Yes, I will."
Good on him.
And I spoke to Tony Wilson. Tony Wilson wanted to do, he said, "What a brilliant idea."
Nice.
And he wanted to do it. And he said, "But me jag will get wrecked."
I can imagine, yeah.
So, but anyway, but I got a guy called Gerald.
Is it Voodoo Rage, that guy called Gerald?
Voodoo Ray, that's it. Good man. So he did the first gig of 8 Orgasms. I got an art group in there that decorated it. They were called the F People, and the lad from the Pixies would come in. The singer from the Pixies, Frank, would do a television, he'd do a performance in front of the art piece.
Wow.
To be broadcast for his telly show, whatever it was he was doing, and because it was funky, and I basically put an ad out saying I need dance bands, to come in and do the first gig, because it's good, and it's the dance club, and they were all Bunnymen bands,
right?
And I said, we had a week to go for the gig, so to support a guy called Gerald. So I said, "Oh, fuck it." So we formed the Donny Marie Handbag Revolution, and I was dressed in, well, you really don't want to know, but I was dressed, and I was basically, it was hilarious. So I was the most feminine singer imaginable, but the most. So I'd have me Donny Marie handbag, and I'd have sweets in it, and I'd throw sweets out to the crowd and say, "Sweets, bastards." I was the most macho, horrible. What's that word? Where I'm absolutely wonderful and beautiful, and you are just minions to adore me. Yeah. I was everything I hate about all singers. And I was absolutely adored.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I was gutted. I was gutted. You even wanted me to go on that Hitman and Hair.
No way, with Pete Waterman and Strachan.
I couldn't, because I couldn't trust myself,
right,
to not attack Pete Waterman. I couldn't trust myself.
Amazing.
So I had to turn it down.
I think that would have took off, though, if you went on there. I think you would have been a regular.
Yeah, but I don't think how can I put it? It scared me, actually. I learned an awful lot. It scared me because people really liked that persona.
Yeah.
Even like sweet people who should know better.
Yeah.
You know, sweet souls, sweet, gentle, feminist souls who should know better. They really liked it. and so it would have been really, it was very dangerous for me because I may have started to have become liked.
Yeah, I get you.
But it wouldn't have been me. It would have been the death of an artist, actually.
Oh, I see.
It sounds quite deep, but it's true. And a lot of people don't understand that. But it's until you know, being there, you don't get it.
Yeah, I
but
mean, I get the fact it would have been, you're this sort of pseudo drag act, and it's and I was in a band as well. Although whereas the songwriting's much more important, and your history with Steph is much more important than when giving out sweets. I get it to a degree.
The personality overrides everything.
Yeah.
And the key thing about me is I actually have zero personality. The real Slim Shady has zero personality.
I suppose as well.
That'd be good.
It could become dangerous to become addicted to that personality as well if you're so shy.
Well,
yeah.
Because it get you stuff.
Yeah, I get you.
Big time. Fucking hell.
So over the years, you've done a few Lotus Eaters reunions and bits and bobs, and you've been touring again. Well, either way, you've been prolific still since you've started, and you're still making music now, aren't you? And releasing music.
Oh yeah, all over the place. So I've got an album coming out with, and he's got an OBE actually. Ian, my mate Ian from Edinburgh. It's a poetry album. So, God, that's the theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a poetry album, and it's called A Warm Moon, and I've done the music and he's done the poems, and that's coming out September 30th. And there's a little book, a beautiful booklet, poetry booklet that he's going to sell, which is nice.
So was it a quick album to make?
Well, it took about a year, but that was in amongst other projects. But that because it was just the two of us. That was a lot easier.
Sure. And if people want to find out more about you and the album and them, where's the best place to go, and your tours as well? Where's the best place to find out the best information for you?
Well, that's a very good question, that, Robbie.
Would it be your website? Maybe was that the best one?
Well, if I updated it correctly, yeah.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, I do my website and me Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I do try to put all the releases on there.
Yeah.
So as not, but and I put my pictures up there as well. I do a picture every day. And, but yeah, my website, if I do update it, I do need to update that, sugar.
And what's the address for that, for people that don't know what that is?
petercoyle.com. But it's a bit confusing because, say, for example, this album is coming out in September 30th. That's called A Warm Moon, and that's Coyle Deary, because it's Ian Deary, is the lad who's done the poems. So that's it. And also most of my stuff on Spotify is Peter Coyle Fractal.
Right, okay.
And then I do different
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do for the listeners.
Yeah.
When you've done the new album, send it to me. I'll put it on our website, which is www.the80spod.com with a link so they can find it.
Cool.
And I'll put the Peter Coyle Fractal stuff under the exclusive for the website page. How's that? So anyone that's listening,
bless you.
Go to my website.
Go to your website.
And I'll get you to Peter's stuff.
Yeah, because I haven't got a Scooby what I'm doing.
Peter, it's been lovely talking to you today. I've had a wonderful time chatting. It's been wonderful. So thanks, buddy. It's been great.
If you enjoyed today's episode, Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review.